In this video, I'll be doing a what if Jogo faced Ryu. The way I'll be styling this video is the beginning will be talking about their abilities and what they have. I will then be comparing their strengths, and that will be comparing durability, speed and attack power. And then the final section of the video will be describing how the battle will go. For more JJK videos, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll start off with the video. So first we'll start off with Jogo and his curse techniques. He has disaster flames, which are highly concentrated flames, which he generates and can be used as beams. He has ember insects, which he could fly and detonate on impact. Jogo has a range to a maximum meteor, which he summons a massive meteor and was shown to destroy the buildings in Shibuya. He also has a domain expansion Iron Mountain core that will burn everything in the vicinity, and he can also use domain amplification. His domain can't miss attack, however will expend more cursed energy. He has elite level speed, and that was shown without maneuvering Nobito, who is said to be on scale to one of the fastest Jujutsu sorcerer. He also has the ability to unlimited curse energy. He was born of humanity's fear and a negative association with volcanoes and other fire related natural disasters. Especially with Japan having issues with earthquakes and tsunamis, this will fuel the fear and hatred of Gojo, which allow him to have unlimited curse energy, as well as the curse will have healing properties without reverse curse technique since he is a curse. Jogo's durability seems to be very good, and he survived multiple curse techniques from Gojo and obviously technique reversal red. However, we know Gojo was obviously not taking it seriously, as well as take a lot of hits from Sukuna in his battle in Shibuya. So now we'll go to Ryu and his abilities. So Ryu's curse technique is curse energy discharge, and he can shoot beams from his head and can shoot multiple times with the same curse energy output. He has Granite Blaster, which is a widespread beam which covers a large distance and has huge damage capabilities. He also has the highest curse energy output in history. He has great hand-to-hand combat and was shown in his fight with Yuta, and his speed is hard to quantify. However, he kept up with base Yuta in periods, indicating he's quite fast. However, there's no real knowledge on his speed. His durability is elite, and he survived multiple hits from Yuta plus Rika, plus 2 hits from his own Granite Blaster from Yuro and from Yuta, indicating he also has high durability. So now let's compare their strengths. So durability, they both show high level of durability. Jogo was toyed with both Sukuna and Gojo, so it's hard to use them as durability feats because they did not go all out. However, just for the simple fact that he went against the 2 strongest characters in the show, we can indicate he has elite level durability. However, in my opinion, Ryu will be ahead in this regard. He has the highest curse energy output, so he can reinforce his body, so we can assume his attack output and defense output would be the same, meaning he will require more damage than Jogo, and it will take a lot more for Ryu to go down than Jogo. So when we come to speed, this goes to Jogo, and this is shown with how he outmaneuvered Nobito. I don't believe he is faster than Nobito, but he scales close to that range, indicating he is as fast, or if you want to say faster than him. He also has shown elite level of speed, blitzing, Maki and all the rest of them. However, I think Ryu should not be slept on. At this moment in time, he's been able to contend with Yuta in his base form, as well as being able to show great speed feats in the fight with Uru and Yuta. However, because it's very minimal and we haven't seen enough, I edge Jogo, but just for the simple fact that he was able to contend with Yuta for periods, I believe the speed is closer than people will think. Now let's go to attack power. Ryu slightly edges in this regard, and that's obvious with the fact that he has the highest energy output. However, I believe Jogo has the more dangerous attacking power in the fact that his abilities in his disaster flames, as well as the maximum technique, can do more damage to Ryu, and it would be an interesting bout in that regard. So now how do I think the fight will go? We'll start off with, I believe Ryu would do a similar things in being an attrition style warfare. Regardless of their personality and him trying to deal with the fight, I think this would be a different indication because now he's against a curse. Against a curse, there's a lot more disadvantages he has in terms of the curse energy you'll have to deal with, as well as the other things that I mentioned in before. So in terms of the fight, I believe Ryu would have to keep his distance and try to spam beams to keep away from Jogo. Jogo would then use his abilities such as the Ember Insects to try and get closer to Ryu. He would then try to close the gap as soon as possible. Upon closing the gap, he will have such things such as his disaster flames, which once he gets closer, Ryu can't do too much in terms of damage. We've seen the damage is done to Maki, so he would end up being blitzed in terms of regard of having major damage. However, I believe Ryu's speed is still very good, so if he was to say survive, he'll be able to then regroup and go back. I think then he will have to find new ways to then get away from Jogo, because even in hand-to-hand combat that Ryu is very, very competent in, the ability of his flames that Jogo can do on impact just makes it a very hard matchup for him in terms of that regard. So it is why I think Ryu would stay and have a more cautious approach and use his beams to separate the distance. Now, this is where Jogo will have to find ways to get closer, and in my opinion he has the speed to do so, but it's to be able to find the right moments in which he can dodge said beams and then go into clash with Ryu. Even if he was to get hit by a couple of the beams, to the fact that he has an unlimited curse energy as well as have the ability of some sort of reverse curse technique, not to that of the highest application, he'll be able to revive a lot of the missing body parts and eventually get closer to Ryu. So as he gets closer to Ryu, this is when I think that battle gets scarier for Ryu. We can't fortify his domain expansion, but from some briefings I can indicate that Jogo's will be more refined. The way I say this is because Ryu's from the old school era where they have the sure hits domains compared to the sure kill domains that the modern day sorcerers have. Now we know if Jogo's having that sure kill domain, we can assume that his will be more refined, and we know that domain expansions, the conclusions are met with which one is the more refined domain. So in that regard, even if we do factor in, and I don't want to speak too much on the domain expansion since we don't have enough information on Ryu's, I would assume Jogo has a stronger domain and it wouldn't bode well for Ryu. Therefore, he would end up being burnt up and completely lose in that regard. However, we don't factor in the domain expansions. Obviously, Jogo has his ability in Maximum Meteor. You can use that as a way to counteract with Ryu's obviously constant beams. But we can infer this from obviously Panda and other people being able to dodge this, that Ryu won't necessarily have any issues in dodging. I mean, in the last second we saw Panda, when Sukuna was there, being able to dodge the Maximum Meteor, meaning Ryu will be able to get closer and potentially use that as a way to counteract. He would be able to spam his beams and as well as use his elite level of hand-to-hand combat to close the damage, and in my opinion this fight will still be very close. The only reason I edge Jogo, in my opinion, Jogo would win high diff or extreme diff or high difficulty, extreme difficulty, because he has too many abilities that we've seen in terms of dealing with Ryu. I think once he can bypass the main beam struggles, he will then be in close range, and I think as we get to closer in close range, like I've just previously mentioned, the usage of his disaster flames and his other abilities will be too big of an issue for Ryu to deal with. In my opinion, this will end up with Jogo winning the fight and him being declared the victor. How do you guys think of this, and do you agree or disagree? Obviously, like, comment, share, subscribe for more videos.